back. In this one, I'm in a semi-downtown area. Didn't really have a plan. I just randomly parked and hopped out. Started walking around. I knew there would be people in this area, more so than others I've been to. So I did kind of have it in the back of my mind that I would attempt to shoot, street photography style when I could, and I do get some of those. A lot of the first half of this video is like, pretty good general, mediumly ranked shots, much like this first one right here. This one, I attempted to make a scene out of this, from the building and the window over to the picnic table under the tree. The picnic table there, or table, I guess, is just kind of almost disappears back over there. It doesn't really stand out as much. I don't hate this scene. I think probably the thing that would have made it a lot cooler is if maybe someone was peering through that window at me. But yeah, I didn't get that here. But aside from that, there's a lot of shots that I get like this that I don't hate and are decent for sure. But I do surprise myself with a few shots later on, which you'll see more of the people shots that I'm referring to in the second half of this video. So thank you for being here, and let's see what we can get. And yeah, here is one of the first hip fire kind of shots I did for the day. This one didn't turn out amazingly. Once again, at least for me, I imagine a lot of these shots like perfect in my mind, of course. And when attempting to capture that shot, it may not always turn out that way. There was two people sitting in the front, and honestly, I wish they were a bit further back so I could have picked them both up. Nothing that stands out a ton is what I had in mind. I just figured, let's go ahead and get a practice shot in of secretly snapping a photo of someone downtown. I like the way that this one's, kind of like sharp and geometric, because of the buildings. The light pole kind of coming out of the top of this guy's head obviously was like not planned, but is interesting for whatever reason. Snapped these two really quick. I saw them come in just before they entered the frame, and I snapped a few quick ones, and I got these. These aren't really like interesting. I don't think that the people are like, they don't stand out in any way. They're just like regular people biking. The one thing that I did like about these is that I liked that they were like almost in the exact same spot, when I took both photos as they drove by. So I thought that was cool and cool enough to show here. I like this one, and there's definitely things that I don't like about it. I do like how flat and linear these lines are, going from the power line to the way that the lines are running through the building to the street. And, even the lady that I captured in this is she's looking to her left, which kind of adds to that flat, horizontal look. I do like that her hair is kind of flipped up in the air too. The car is a bit distracting. I almost wish the car wasn't there, and I think this photo would have been a lot better to me. But yeah, I'm happy with this one. I like it. You'll also notice that when I'm done taking this photo, I kind of pretend to stand around like I'm taking pictures of other things. Because I thought for sure this lady was looking at me when she entered her building, but when I reviewed the footage, she wasn't. So think this one would have looked a lot better to me if I was just a bit closer. I wish I was like in the street. The lady on her phone with her back turned to the camera is mostly what I was trying to emphasize. I unintentionally put too much emphasis on the car, which I assume is her car. I do wish I had stepped over into the street maybe 5 or 10 feet a little bit closer and kind of captured, her in just kind of the front of the car with the tree. I still like this one because it's balanced in a certain way where the subject, the lady, is in that little dome of tree there. Like the tree trunks are almost bended to her like a walkway. I think that's cool. But like I said, I think the car is taking up too much of the spotlight here. So I could have cropped this one down probably, and I think I may have done that, but it didn't look right. So you got this version. Coming up here, as I near the end of the street, I noticed a guy, like a groundskeeper over on the left behind these trees as I pass the homies here. And I think, I don't think I could pull up and take a regular picture because I'm just so close to him, like within 15 feet. You notice him there. So I decided to just kind of like across my left side, quickly take a picture, without him noticing. And I get this one. This one, it's like I'm getting a little bit better at, the street photography idea of framing things just like kind of through muscle memory, like getting your the angle of the camera right secretly, and I think I did that pretty well here. If I remember correctly, I think I had to like crop and adjust this one slightly to make it work a bit more. It wasn't quite as perfectly linear as it is now. I do wish that I was a bit closer. This is much like a few photos back. I wish I was a bit closer to the guy doing the yard work here. I think that the kind of flow of him working with the truck, and the kind of the orange scattered around him would have made for a cool shot, like the cone and the bag and whatnot. This one's still interesting. The flow kind of starts with him working, and then I noticed that lady in the top left-hand corner of the frame sitting on the stairs there, like further back, and thought, yeah, it may be cool to include her somehow, but you can't get too close without being a creep or coming off as a creep. So it's cool that she managed to still be in this photo. I don't think it adds much other than it's like, oh, a little Easter egg. There's another person. I also think that the light pole on the left here kind of, I don't know, it doesn't add much once again. So, but like we're getting better at this. I don't hate it. At this point, I'm feeling confident with the hip fire. I'm just leaning into it. And you'll notice as this guy drove by, I snapped a couple photos. And this was the better one out of the few I took. This one, the only reason why I think this one worked is, I will say I hate how much road there is in this. I wish it was up a little bit further. But the thing that I'd like the most about this and want to include it is it's almost like this guy in this crazy like bicycle thing or whatever he's riding. It's like he's in line with the traffic of the cars going up there, and it just kind of that flow from right to left worked. So yeah, a fun shot. I'm trying to like hopefully eventually I'll be able to do these kind of quick fire shots and capture some like awesome stuff is the idea. So once again, we're getting there.
I ain't getting no rest 'cause I'm
this was the first of a few quick fire shots that I got. I liked two. Like I said, this is the first one. This one felt like a like an Ocean's 11 scene or something like that to me. Like some sort of like 2000s, like 2010s, action movie. I don't know why, but these guys are just businessmen. They're doing their thing, and that's really all it is. Like they are the subject to this. I looked for other things in this frame to try to like justify, like, oh, there's multiple elements to this, but really there isn't. Like there's the walk sign over at the far left pointing to those guys, and like, yeah, they're walking, but I don't know. I think that's a reach. I just think these guys were interesting looking enough, and that's about it. The second photo I got, which was this one, I don't know, I think this one was a little bit better. I know this one's obviously blurry, but I think that the blur to this one adds to the character of this shot. It's like there's some businessmen. The guy in the gray suit is like telling them the plan, The blur to that adds to that like businessman Wolf of Wall Street type of feel to it. So I like it because of that, much like the last photo. It's like these guys are interesting enough, and then a blur to it. Yeah, these were cool. These were fun. All right, by this point, things get a bit more interesting. I got to kind of freely shoot without being too worried about people noticing me here. I had to jump at the opportunity because there's so many people out here you could take photos and no one's going to question it. So I get some cool ones here at the end of this. Let's see what we can get. Just quickly, this one felt like a gimme. I don't think that you see people dressed as the people from Handmaid's Tale every day. So being able to take a picture of that just in general in public was the main obvious interest point here. So I think this one looks cool. It looks interesting. This one was absolutely one of my favorite photos for the day. This one has a lot of nice elements that make it work. It's got the two subjects with like their protest signs. Being able to read the signs and what they're about really adds to the depth of this photo too. It was nice capturing these people just like naturally reacting to their environment and not really worried about me taking photos. I know sometimes people will act differently if they notice you have a camera. Those are really nice elements. And then, the tree really kind of sandwiches it in with the backdrop of those like old style buildings. This one was really nice. This one was, I think, the most visually pleasing to me. There's a few photos that I have, a bit of critique on, and this one I think deserves like the most critique. I don't want to say negative, but reasons why I don't like it for sure. This one felt a bit lost in its balance. I don't really know how to manipulate a frame with like this many people in it. Some people are really, really good at that. And I want to be better at that because I see some really, really awesome work when people are able to create these like really like, contrasty or impactful photos through just random people in a public area. So there's just so many subjects in this that like feel so unbalanced. I think I approached it thinking we've got the gentleman with like the shopping cart, talking to the lady holding up the sign, and then we've got the two people at the far right with the signs, and I don't know where I was going with it. I really don't. I just figured let's take a few shots and then we'll figure it out later. So, like I've said in past episodes, I really don't like this photo that much. Like I probably wouldn't even included it, but I want to include it to show you like, hey, it's not always perfect images. Like they don't always look great. And yeah, it's a work in progress. Honestly, not sure what I was going for this. I think the simplest way to put it is I was thinking, a bunch of people with signs. Let me just take some pictures, just random photos, and see if I can grab anything. Not much to this. I guess if you wanted to look into it, it's like the girl's sign says destroying, and then the girl with the green sign says resist tyranny. But then this girl like proceeds to attack her with the sign. The wind was kind of blowing her sign all over the place, and it was just I kind of caught a funny moment there. But yeah, I mean that's it. Not much to these. Just quick in the moment shots. As I'm sure you noticed in the footage prior to this photo here, I'm definitely further back than a 35mm would capture. So I, of course, cropped this one way down. The original edit had like a bunch of the people in the background in it. It just like was so distracting. And I really was just trying to capture this little girl and her like kind of fiery red hair. I thought looked really cool. I still would have framed this one differently if I felt comfortable enough to get closer. But, once again, it's a kid. I think that was her dad over on the other side. I know this was like an open kind of like, public protest, but still, I want to respect people's personal space. So I still managed to get this, and I still really like this, even cropped down. It's just kind of like a visually pleasing shot to me. The girl kind of with her fiery red hair with this backdrop of this brick ground just looks nice, looks good. So I was pretty happy with this one. This one was one of my favorites for the day. This one had kind of like that street photography element that I'm always working on. I hip fired this one. Once again, I probably could get away with just bringing the camera up to my face and taking a normal photo, but with kind of smaller towns like I'm in, or smaller cities, it's can't really get away with it, you know, and I want to respect people's, once again, respect people's space. So I hip fired this one. This one turned out great. They're nice and sharp and in frame. You know, they look like well-to-do older people, and of course the contrast between you know, the subject, the lady at the far right, looking at you know, what I would assume is like a homeless man on the bench there, just works. It's just a nice kind of general, simple scene that I think looked really well for you know, like a hip fire type of shot.
Riding around, getting cheers, getting claps, getting jeers, all kinds of things. And then my bike wandered over to university, and I found very few people there. And then my bike took me to Commonwealth Stadium. Does anybody know who's at Commonwealth Stadium today? Yeah. The wonderful, amazing, progressive Tyler Childers.
I saw this guy kind of lurking around for most of this protest. And when I kind of caught wind, I could overhear that he was going to be coming up here and talking next. I was like, well, I have to go down here and take some photos. That's exactly what I did. This one, you know, it's just kind of odd. I don't think that there's really kind of like a cool, like quirky theme to this other than the two people standing on the left side and the right side had like very similar features about them. You know, for one, the way the wind's blowing in their hair is identical. I thought was funny, just kind of like folded on either side of their shoulder. But they're also wearing black shirts. They're also wearing jeans, and they're both holding a white sign. For some reason, to me, this gives me like a cult feel to it. Like these are like they're the faithful congregation to this, you know, really like over the top, like American flag carrying biker dude. I don't know. It's got a funny theme to it, and I was pretty happy with this one.
Slowly on my bike with my bike. And as I mentioned, I'm not highly qualified.